Adjustable water saver sprinkler from participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
To win at golf, you have to make all the shots. That's why this Toro is such a winner. In spring, it's a detacher. Fall, it vacuums leaves. It mulches, side discharges, or bags thick, wet grass with ease. And now, it's warranted for 2 years. It's so versatile. It'll even improve your life.
Available at these participating Toro dealers.
From WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul, this is the 6 p.m. Report with Dave Moore, Pat Miles, Mike Fairborn, and Ralph John Fritz.
Good evening, everyone. Police from several communities have surrounded a house in South St. Paul where an armed robbery suspect has been holed up since early this afternoon. So far, no shots have been fired. Mike Walsh is standing by now with a live report on the latest developments. Mike?
Dave, South St. Paul police officials have in the past 5 minutes just concluded their first official statement about this 4.5-hour standoff that has occurred at the corner of Willis and Annapolis in South St. Paul. And basically the statement they issued, it was very brief. It confirms what we have been reporting throughout the afternoon, that a burglary suspect, a young man, blonde-haired, a white man between 20 and 25 years, was suspected of burglarizing a home near here. Police staked it out. A young man was put in with a radio. They flushed the suspect as he came up with a U-Haul van to drive away with valuables inside that home. That occurred about a quarter mile from here. Well, they flushed him. They called out a canine unit. The chase was on. They fled through the alleys here, and the man then took refuge in the home, which is located about 50 yards or so behind where I am standing. SWAT teams were then called in. SWAT teams from Lakeville, Dakota County Sheriff's Department. The City of Rosemont was called in. St. Paul police officials provided backup here. And the SWAT team members with their camouflaged uniforms, their green paint on their faces, and a big array of weapons have been here for a couple of hours now, along with BCA vans and communication equipment. We understand from the statement issued just a few moments ago that no contact has been established with the suspect. No shots have been fired throughout the incident. No injuries have occurred, but police remain pretty well certain that he is in the house here in South St. Paul.
What gives them that indication, Mike? Have they not heard from him at all? Any sounds at all?
They have not. They've called several times. The BCA's brought in their mobile phones. They've tried to toss in a phone. They have not established contact, but they have seen the man. After the incident occurred, police went up to a window and saw the man inside. They also saw a very big collection of guns inside, and that made them suspicious, and the SWAT team was called out. We don't know exactly when this ordeal will end.
Have they given any indication that they might storm the house?
No, they have not. We questioned about that. They would not speculate.
I see. Well, we'll check with you later. Thank you, Mike. One man's dead, another in custody tonight following a stabbing incident overnight in northeast Minneapolis. This happened at 2519 Polk Street, just in front of the house. 30-year-old Dean Van Vickel was stabbed in the chest, and he died a short time later. Another man was arrested. Police say the two men had been drinking at a bar for the better part of the evening. Pat?
Dave, several months ago, Minneapolis Mayor Don Frazier vetoed an ordinance which would have declared pornography a violation of civil rights and would have allowed women to file suits against distributors of such materials. The mayor called the proposal too vague and questioned its constitutionality. A task force was then appointed to look for other remedies. Today, it released a draft summary of its final report. Caroline Lowe has more.
In a brief presentation to a city council committee in an almost empty room, the co-chair of the task force said the recommendations are less extensive and more specific than the vetoed proposal, but still take a civil rights approach to the problem of pornography. Two main changes are that distributors of the objectionable materials could not be sued, and the definition of pornography would refer to sexually explicit acts in a violent setting. For example, a person raped by someone who had seen violent pornography could sue the attacker, but not the distributor of the materials. The task force also would exempt several uses of pornography.
That there are, in fact, artistic and educational and therapeutic uses of material that might be construed as pornography that should be exempted from any civil rights ordinance that the city may bring forward.
Supporters of the original anti-porn ordinance reacted angrily to the draft proposal, claiming it actually protects people who sell pornography and that it is not a true civil rights approach to the problem.
You know, it's basically not a civil rights law in the fundamental notion that what we're dealing with is the status of a group of people. And they reduced it to a series of individual injuries.
The final language of the task force report will be worked out at a meeting next week and presented to a public hearing on June 7th. Caroline Lowe, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Day 2 of the Twins ticket buyout program saw renewed speculation on the sale of that team as thousands of tickets were bought up for today's noontime game at the Metrodome. A man mentioned as a possible buyer of the Twins appeared at the game as well. Karen Boris was at the Metrodome. She has more on the story. She's here with us right now. Karen?
Pat, there is speculation that agreement between Calvin Griffith and banker Carl Pohlad is near. Pohlad has offered to buy the Twins. Attorneys for Pohlad and Griffith are trying to work out an agreement.
Pohlad was at the Twins game this afternoon, invited by Griffith and watching the action from Griffith's box. Pohlad told reporters they are working as fast as they can to reach agreement. Personally, I have a great deal of respect for Mr. Griffith, said Pohlad. He wants the ball team to stay in the Twin Cities. When asked, would you keep the team here, Pohlad replied, absolutely. We have made a lot of progress, said Pohlad, praising Griffith for his cooperation and understanding. When asked if agreement was near, Pohlad replied, no comment. Today's game came close to being a sellout, with 51,863 tickets sold. Actual attendance was not quite 8,500, with more than 43,000 no-shows, most of those tickets stored in the stadium vault. The ticket buyout task force purchased 24,000 unsold tickets after the game for just less than $100,000. A plan for extremely limited distribution of buyout tickets is yet to come, but today's paying fans seem to support the buyout.
Baseball fans will come anyhow, so they should give it to somebody that maybe would be a fan.
If they don't stay here and have to move, I'm not sure what expansion team would come in here. I'm not sure what franchise would want to move in here, and maybe because they're in a dome, nobody will want to come in here.
I talked to Calvin Griffith late this afternoon. He says they are still negotiating, and they are working very hard to reach a settlement with Pohlad.
All right, Karen, thank you. More than 6,000 nurses in the Twin Cities area could be on strike at the end of this month. An update up next on the 6 p.m. report.
Before Frank's, you might have to settle for the same old dinners this summer, but with guaranteed vegetable and flour products from Frank's, it's not necessary. Right now, Frank's has a huge selection of annuals, many at a special price, and a 5-pound box of Frank's water-soluble fertilizer costs only $5.99 right now. After Frank's, you can have a beautiful summer garden with advice from Frank's pros and quality garden products that we guarantee.
Beautiful things begin at Frank's, Frank's Nursery and Crafts.
I've loved this river since I was just a kid. But as more people moved in, it was bound to get dirty. So I was glad the town upstream installed a treatment system. Phillips Petroleum developed the plastic that makes it possible. Now, I don't know much about gasoline, but I go to Phillips 66. Because I'm not just buying gasoline, it's like I'm helping keep my river clean.
Fine products for you and your car from Phillips Petroleum, the performance company.
At Marshall's, you'll find a great selection of fashions, priced 20 to 60% less than department store regular prices. 20 to 60% less on brand name fashions for women and children. Fine quality menswear, family footwear, accessories, home fashions, and giftware. At Marshall's, you'll find quality and value in every department. Buying smart. That's what brand names for less is all about.
It's showdown time for Twin Cities nurses and the hospitals for which they work. Yesterday, 740 nurses employed by United and Children's Hospitals voted to reject a final contract offer and to authorize a strike that could start at midnight May 31st. The nurses rejected offers of pay raises totaling 7.5% over the next 2 years. Today in Minneapolis, nurses from 17 other hospitals are voting on proposed contracts. Should the 6,000 nurses reject the proposals as recommended by the union, they could also be on strike at the end of the month. And that, of course, would cause major problems for local hospitals. Dr. Larry Kuttner will have a full report on that potential tonight at 10. Pat?
The phone company wants more money for its services in Minnesota, and it began collecting part of it last fall. But some of that money may be returned to the customers, as Alan Cox reports.
Northwestern Bell wants another $98 million a year from its Minnesota customers. The State Public Utilities Commission decides, and on its behalf, a hearing examiner took evidence earlier this year. Late this afternoon, attorneys for citizens groups filed motions with the phone company and the hearing examiner. They say the company failed to disclose a corporate reorganization, one that might affect what should be charged to customers of Northwestern Bell.
They had a duty to advise us of that plan. And it may have an effect on the record, but we have absolutely no way of finding that out at this point.
If the Public Utilities Commission throws out Bell's rate request, and if the courts don't intervene, the phone company will have to refund roughly $25 million to its customers. That's the part of the rate increase put into effect last fall. Northwestern Bell would have to refile for a rate increase, and the nearly year-long process of getting it approved would begin again. Northwestern Bell is part of a company, U.S. West, that covers 13 states. An investment research firm says one state is considered easier than average on regulation. 5 are considered harsher. The Minnesota ruling could have a major impact on phone company profits and on the trend of phone bills in the future. Alan Cox, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Well, we don't really know what to say to you, Mike.
Pretty lights, aren't they?
But you know, I still like you.
Good. I guess we have been as wrong before, but that was the most recent.
Well, I went outside this morning in my shorts, and I kept saying, Mike,
heard the thunder go off this morning. I thought, gee, that's not right. Now we forecast sunny weather. What's going on here? One of those little areas developed right out ahead of us. Now look at the satellite pictures. This is what we were watching last night. Bingo, right over Minnesota. This thing decided to fire off and produce some thunderstorm activity from really relatively very little moisture in the atmosphere or anything else. So it was just kind of one of those, I think reporters refer to them as freak storms. A lot of lightning associated with that. This is our lightning tracking system indicating where the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes are occurring. You see central Minnesota really caught the brunt of this storm up just north of Mille Lacs Lake and on up into the International Falls area. Still lightning up there right now. Current time, we have high pressure to the east of us, still a warm front and yet a cold front out to the west of us. This warm front right now is triggering some thunderstorms to our west. There's in fact, a tornado watch in effect for North Dakota and for north central South Dakota until 11 p.m. tonight. Some of that thunderstorm activity could move into the state later on tonight, and we may be looking at something similar tomorrow, so we'll keep you advised of those thunderstorms as they develop. In the meantime, the clouds we had over us earlier today continue to move on to the east. This storm system out here to the west is the cold front, and I guess the best thing about it is it's finally moved to the east of Utah, and so the rains out there are finally ended, and they're finally getting some colder temperatures move in. The radar indicates where most of the shower activity is, still some up in Montana, down to the south, but Utah is not reporting any showers. We have a few showers still up to the north of the Twin Cities, and the temperatures are much, much cooler. As we said, in the 60s today back in Utah as opposed to the 80s and the 90s that they've been running in the last couple of days. That'll really slow that snow melt. By tomorrow, the cold front should be east of us. So we'll also look at some temperatures that won't be a great deal different than what we've been having, temperatures in the 70s, but along the leading edge of that, at least a chance of some shower and some thunderstorm activity, and we'll see some more sunshine, and our temperatures should climb back up into the upper 60s for high temperatures tomorrow, and maybe even some 70s up to the north, and even close to 80 degrees here over parts of southern Minnesota. 62, right, what we had for a high temperature today, 47 for an overnight low, and the rainfall was 75/100ths of an inch from the shower and thunderstorm activity. We're 63 with southeast winds gusting to 23 miles an hour right now. Our forecast calls for a chance of thunderstorms late tonight, a low of 48 degrees. Tomorrow we'll be looking at mostly sunny, but at least a chance of showers and thunderstorms developing. A high of 77. It's still windy. Winds will be gusting up to 30 miles an hour again. Mostly clear tomorrow night. And right now, Friday's looking mostly sunny with a high of 77. The extended forecast calls for a chance of some showers or thunderstorms on Saturday, partly cloudy the rest of the 5-day period, with highs in the 70s, lows cooling off into the 40s by Sunday and Monday.
All right, I trust you.
Write that one down.
I'll write it down, and I trust you. All right, thanks, Mike. One of Minnesota's best-known lawmakers, House Speaker Harry Sieben, will retire his job at the end of this term. Reaction to the news coming up on the 6 p.m. report.
Lawn weeds seem to spring up overnight. Dandelion and other broadleaf weeds. The answer is Ortho Weed Begone Weed Killer. Now in this ready-to-use applicator. There's no mixing, and you can spot kill broadleaf lawn weeds, roots and all. No more digging. Just a beautiful lawn with less work. Get Weed Be Gone. Ready to use. It's easy with Ortho.
Time again for Golden Plump News. As America turns to better chickens, Golden Plump steps up to meet the demand. Here, truckloads of hopeful recruits arrive at Camp Golden Plump. For 8 intense weeks, these select birds will be the best fed, best housed chickens in the world. One final inspection and it's back on the truck for a quick ride to your supermarket. Golden Plump Chickens. Freshness marches on.
It's the Runaround, a little dance made popular by so-called bargain building supply stores that make you run from one end of their warehouse to the other just to find what you need. When you get tired of the runaround, come to Knox. We have lower prices than those other guys. We also have the Knox Answer Booth to help you find what you want fast. Knox, good prices, good answers.
Margaret, where's my access code? I have to call over to Foxtail Corners. I need the access code for that new long-distance phone company.
If it's in your Bell zone, why use anybody but Northwestern Bell?
Where is it, Margaret? You had it
With
last...
Northwestern Bell, you don't have to punch in all those extra numbers.
Should have just written it on the wall.
And with Northwestern Bell, it's faster. Just dial 1 plus a number.
Down here somewhere.
Know your Bell zone. It could save you time.
The place was immaculate yesterday. But now, you had to mess it up. Where is it, Margaret? Margaret, where...
To no one's surprise, the Speaker of the Minnesota House, Harry Sieben, announced today that he will not seek re-election. Speaker Sieben has been Speaker for 4 years. He's been a member of the legislature for 14. Pat Kessler reports.
As Speaker of the House, Harry Sieben has controlled virtually every major piece of legislation to come out of the Capitol for the last 4 years. It's a lot of power to give up, but Sieben said he decided his young family comes first.
Everybody leaves this place sometimes. Some people leave happier than others. I'm very comfortable with this decision.
Sieben was 36 years old when he became the leader of a bitterly divided Democratic House caucus, and his work during the last 4 economically troubled years earned him praise on both sides of the political aisle.
The Speaker of the House leaving has to help us. We don't know how much, but it has to help. On a personal level, I'm going to miss him.
I think it's going to have an impact on the process, but I can understand why he did what he decided to do.
Speculation began immediately over who will sit here next year in what is considered the most powerful legislative chair. Among the names most often mentioned to succeed Sieben are Representatives Glenn Anderson of Bellingham, Fred Norton of St. Paul, Wayne Simoneau of Minneapolis, Robert Vanasek of New Prague, and Ann Winia of St. Paul. Sieben says he won't get out of politics completely. He says he'll devote full time to his law practice, and someday he'd like to run for governor. Pat Kessler, WCCO Television News, at the Capitol.
9 people were arrested this morning during a protest at Honeywell headquarters in Minneapolis. The demonstrators gathered at Honeywell to continue the protest against the corporation's production of weapons. In recent months, there have been hundreds of such arrests at Honeywell. The Minnesota Twins lost another game to Toronto this afternoon. The story and the rest of sports coming up on the 6 p.m. report.
This week, Montgomery Ward has a great deal on Michelin steel-belted radial tires. Save 35 to 40% on all Michelin tires in all sizes for both imports and domestics. And of course, there's no charge for installation. Buy your tires at Montgomery Ward and we'll rotate them every 5,000 miles absolutely free. Save 35 to 40% on all Michelin steel-belted radial tires now at Montgomery Ward.
Fusillade over the top gets the grass, not the crop.
Grass control doesn't have to hurt the crop. Fusillade herbicide gives you over-the-top control of nearly all annual and perennial grasses in soybeans, and it won't damage the crop. Get the Grass Master, Fusillade.
Fusillade over the top gets the grass, not the crop. Fusillade over the top, Fusillade.
Announcing 2 new additives for Trop Arctic All-Season Motor Oil. Sunshine and excitement. Win Caribbean cruises, plus stays at Fort Lauderdale's luxury Pier 66 Hotel. In Trop Arctic's Everybody Wins Sweepstakes. Game cards and entry forms are in specially marked packages, and everybody wins with 50 cents off your next 6-pack or 12 tray pack. Thousands of other gifts and cash prizes. And a chance for the Caribbean from Trop Arctic Motor Oil.
Protect your vinyl and your leather now with Armor All. Nothing else can do it better than good old Armor All.
Armor All Protectant is now on sale at Coast to Coast.
Just $1.69 for the 8-ounce spray.
Oh, what a hand drill, Screwball, the hand drill. Our price is really great. Come into Coast to Coast right now and get a Screwball for $8.88.
Save $6 now
on a Screwball at Coast to Coast.
We can help you.
The travesty that has come to characterize the Twins' buyout affair was matched by the Twins themselves on the field for the second time.
The buyout affair was a tragedy as far as the attendance was concerned. There were 51,863. The paid attendance, Dave, the gate, 6,346. The Twins' fortunes turned for the worse long before Rick Leach had batted in the winning runs. Starter Ed Hodge, outstanding for 7 innings, scattering 7 hits, but in the 8th inning, Jesse Barfield lined a screamer off the shin of the Twins' rookie pitcher. Hodge wasn't seriously injured, but he was forced to leave the game holding a 5-2 lead. 3 relievers and 6 batters later, it was Ricky Leach, the former Michigan quarterback. He came through in the clutch. His pinch hit triple here cleared the bases for a 7-5 lead for Toronto. The triple came off Ron Davis, but it was Pete Filson, actually, who was charged with the loss. Filson only faced 1 batter, while Davis gave up a walk, sacrifice fly, the triple, and this double by Damasco Garcia. So that is really a misleading statistic, with Davis not taking the loss. Garcia gave the Jays an 8-5 lead. The Twins' rally fell 1 short in the 9th inning. Tim Tuffle and Kirby Puckett extending hitting streaks of 10 and 7 games, respectively. That final, as you see, 8-7 Toronto. The Twins have tomorrow off. They'll open a 3-game series with the Red Sox Friday night at the Metrodome. Mike Smithson will go after his 6th win in that game. Only 1 game in the National League as well today. San Francisco beating the Mets 4-3.
Big black son of a
Wait. Stream over. That's the big... Oh, that's...
Oh, the biggest crappie of my life.
Can you believe
Look at that thing. Grape, you know, you get used to catch them like that, you're going to go home and get sick. You know, you go home and get those little fish boilers.
Oh, that is not a small crappie.
Anyone who's ever crappie fished deserves to spend some time like we did at Rainy Lake near International Falls. I just returned today from 2 days of the best crappie fishing I've ever seen. All the 1.5-pounders you wanted. The smallest in 2 days was a 1-pounder. The warmer weather brought up the temperatures of the water, and they should keep hitting till right around Memorial Day if the other years are any indication. The pro football career of former Gopher Rick Upchurch may be over. The Denver Broncos have received 2 medical reports indicating that Upchurch might be paralyzed if he continues to play. Upchurch missed 4 Bronco games last season with a neck injury. Rick and his lawyer plan to meet with the team officials and doctors tomorrow. The pressure is back on the New York Islanders in their drive for 5 straight Stanley Cups. The Islanders were soundly defeated by the Oilers 7-2 in Edmonton last night. The Oilers now with a 2-1 lead in that best-of-7 game series. Clark Gillies accounting for all the Islanders' offense last night, scoring both New York goals. Gillies has 12 playoff goals this season, which is amazing when you consider the fact he only scored 12 during the regular season. Edmonton's high-powered offense took over from there. Take a look.
Line, Messier moves through the defense, he scores! Gretzky puts it out in front. They feed it back to Huddy at the blue line. A shot blocked. There's Anderson, holds on to it, shoots, he scores! Yes, Dave Newell, what? Little ties up Linsman. Hughes centers it out in front. Coffey's shot was blocked. Coffey, the rebound, he scores!
So it was Edmonton in the blowout, 7-2. The Oilers-Islanders series resumes in Edmonton tomorrow night. Also, a pair of blowouts in the NBA playoffs last night in Boston. The Celtics clobbered Milwaukee 119-96. Boston couldn't do anything wrong in this game. Here's a case in point. Gerald Henderson, the steal. He grabbed as he made the shot, which to Larry Bird's delight drops in. Bird incidentally led all with 24. Dennis Johnson completes a series of passes here. Boston had taken the series opener. Meanwhile, in
L.A., the Lakers having their way with Phoenix. The story of that game, Magic Johnson handed out a playoff record 24 assists. The Lakers 118-102 over the Suns. L.A. now with a 2-0 lead in that series. Looks like it could be L.A.-Boston in the finals.
A great one that would be.
It would.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Mr. Rifkin will have his sandwich now.
When you make a sandwich with Buttick meats, be careful. Lean, economical Buttick meat tastes so good, it's hard not to nibble.
Your bread, sir.
Buttick, it's not your ordinary sandwich meat.
I'm Rodney. I'm dull.
Hi, Rodney.
It happened to me like it happens to everyone. The same dull songs over and over on the radio. Up the dial, dull. Down the dial, dull. Now I wake up dull. Drive to work dull. Isn't there someplace I can turn on the FM dial? Some kind of music that isn't dull?
Yes, Rodney, there's country. FM Country K102. More music, less dull. FM Country K102.
9 out of every 10 Midwestern homes being built today use natural gas for home heating. Why? Certainly new high-efficiency gas furnaces save money. But the main reason 90% of new Midwestern homes use natural gas is because it's the cheapest fuel available. And because many years from now, as the homes mature, gas will still be the lowest cost home fuel. We're working to ensure an energy future we can all build on for generations to come.
We asked users of bulk laxatives to try gentle, effective Senecot.
Wakes the next morning. It was fabulous.
Senecot tablets or pleasant-tasting granules.
It was fabulous.
We're going to return right now to Mike Walsher for a quick update on that standoff in South St. Paul. Mike?
That's right, Pat. We have learned in the past few moments that the burglary suspect, is holed up in the Ray Kennedy home in South St. Paul, about 50 or so yards behind that row of bushes behind me. Sergeant Earl Nice of the South St. Paul Police came out a few moments ago to give us an update. He said they continue to try to establish communication with the contact. They have not established contact yet, despite numerous attempts over the past 5 or so hours. But, quoting Sergeant Nice, time is on our side. That's the situation here, Pat. We'll stand by and have an update again at 10 o'clock.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. And also tonight at 10, we will have part 3 of industrial espionage. We hope you'll join us then. Good night, everyone.
Hi, I'm Steve Doyle.
And I'm Pat Brown. Join us tonight for Pia Magazine and Paris Friends
as we hop aboard the train of mystery, the Orient Express.
As long as people will dream, people will tell themselves their dreams are